Hi all, this is Claudia with Bamboo Your Privacy in Austin, Texas, and I wanted to talk about how you could set up your own irrigation system using a soaker hose. So you're going to need a few things. Here's a soaker hose, and here's a timer that you could set so that you don't have to worry about it. And then you would also need a regular hose that goes from this is going to go connected to your spigot. Then you could plug in a regular hose from here all the way to where your bamboo starts. So for example, there's the spigot. We'll plug in a regular hose all the way to here, and then from here you would run your soaker hose. And normally if you're using bamboo for privacy, they're planted sort of in a linear fashion somewhere along a fence line or something like that. So the way you would run your soaker hose would be something like this. You want to go through the center of the plant and around a few canes and then around the whole plant. What that will ensure is that the root ball is actually getting watered. What a lot of people tend to do is just wrap it around the outside of the plant. But right now the most important part is to soak the root ball. Leave it on long enough to where it soaks the root ball and a little bit on the outside of that so that the roots start following the water. So eventually you're going to want pretty deep and pretty wide roots. So you have to make sure you're soaking the root ball and you're watering long enough to where it's soaking a little bit on the outside of that so those roots start following that. But here's a soaker hose, and we're just running it through all the bamboo in the same manner, down the center, around a few canes, and around the outside of the plant. Because this is normally a slow drip, that's also a reason why you want to wrap it around it a few times. So there you have it. There's a soaker hose all along the bamboo, a regular hose from where this starts all the way to the spigot, and then you will plug in your timer and have it automatically water. Depending on how established your plant is, it could be on a daily watering, sometimes twice a day. And as your plant gets more established, it usually takes about 3 years, when you could slow it down to about 30 minutes once a week, or once every 2 weeks even, depending on how big and how deep those roots are. Okay, so we are going to test our soaker hose irrigation system. We've plugged in the regular hose all the way to the spigot, and you can go ahead and turn it on. And you want to make sure that every single one of your plants is getting watered, that there are no kinks in the hose. You want to check for about how much water flow you're getting through here, and that'll help you determine about how long you need to leave it on. If we're trying to soak the root system, I think with this flow we could leave it on for about 10 to 12 minutes. And we want to check every single one individually. Make sure they're all getting watered. You also want to make sure that as you travel down the line, if there's less pressure in the water flow, you have to account for that, and you got to make sure that you leave it on longer so that the ones down the line are getting watered just as much. Soak the whole root ball and a little bit on the outside of that so that the roots start following the water. So you want to water to at least all the ones way down the line. See, this one's here doesn't have any water flow, so we're gonna have to check right there. And to make sure, figure out what the issue is here. So you want to hold this? So these guys normally come with this here, which doesn't allow a whole lot of water to go in there. So we're going to switch this for the end cap, which is this, to prevent any leaks from here. But this is just way too small. Can I borrow your knife? I'm going to just pop that guy out. Make sure there are no leaks here. And you can see how there's now water flow. So this is why it's very important to check every single one of your plants. Even though they're on the same line, they're not all getting watered the same. So that's very important. So, as expected, as you travel down the line, these are going to get less water as the ones closer to the spigot. So you have to water to a minimum that the last ones down the line are soaking their root ball, and not necessarily the ones with the most flow in the beginning of the line. So here, you might have to up your time up to 20 minutes. So we're switching the same piece at the union here to make sure that there's going to be some water flow at the end of the line. As your soaker hose softens up, it becomes more malleable with heat and the sun and stuff. So you got to constantly check that that's happening, that it's not creating any kinks anywhere. That's why it's loosely wrapped. And also with time, the flow is going to increase as the water finds its way through all the holes in the soaker hose. So this one is very low flow right now, but like I said, as it softens up, that's going to speed up a little bit. And you can see as more and more is starting to seep through some of the soaker hose here. Some new ones are starting to pop up. But you have to account for that when you're first setting it up. Make sure that the ones at the end of the line are getting their minimum of water, regardless of whether the ones at the beginning of the line are getting the most water. As we go further into the summer and our pretty hot weather, you don't have to worry about overwatering these guys. So we're just going to wait a little bit longer so that all this water can find a way through the soaker hose. But I just wanted to mention some of the things that you have to consider when you're setting up your soaker hose and your irrigation system. Alright, well, thanks for watching.